Hey, I'm Kenneth Wajda. I'm a professional photographer here in Colorado. Welcome to another one of my photo chats. So today I'm going to talk about a photograph. It's this one. I'll also put it in the show notes below if you want to see it. But it's a swimming pool in New Jersey at Seaside Heights, a beach town. And it's going to be in a local national art show, photography show that happens every year outside of Boulder, in a town called Louisville. And it was invited after I submitted 3 photographs. I rarely ever get anybody to ever use any of my work because it's documentary work. And usually in Colorado, they want landscapes, they want wildlife. And they actually chose that to be in the show. And so I'll be delivering that soon to the show to hang. But the beauty of it is the story of how it was made. So I was driving along, and I'm 1 block off of the beach, and I see the pool and the motel, and I think, oh, I'll take a picture out my right car window. And I did. And then I could see that the framing was all off. And so I made a U-turn, and then I made a second U-turn, and I pulled up in front of the office just to the left of where that pool sits. And I got out of my car and I shot 2 frames with a 28 on the Nikon, this one, because I typically use that in the car. And as I'm getting back in my car, the owner of the motel puts his head out the door and says, "Really?" And I'm assuming he thinks that I'm just stalking girls, but I'm actually photographing the whole scene. And I said, "Yeah, I'm making a photograph." And I got in my car and I left. And then as I went back the other direction later, I did actually photograph it again out the window, but it didn't look like anything. There's only one that looked like anything, and it's this one because it was squared up and it was full of color, and the location was great. Even though I'm outside the fence, even though I'm not even inside of the pool area, you can see I'm shooting from the sidewalk. And photographs that we think are, grab shots, or you think that if it's going to get in a national show, it's going to have to be something that you really spend some time on. I literally got out of the car, stepped behind the car, made 2 frames. Of the 2, this one was the better one for position of a beach ball. And that was it. And there's so much about, people wondering how things happen, and there's a little bit of luck. There's a little bit of skill. There's a little bit of vision of choosing to stop there and make that photograph. Having the knowledge that says the first shot's not any good, it's not going to be useful for anything. There were parked cars in the way. But if I go back and I step between those parked cars, I could do this. And then to see it in the edit and say, hey, this is worthwhile. I'm going to put this into my gallery on my Colorado Faces. And hey, and this is worth submitting. This may be of interest to somebody in a photo show. All of those things have to happen to get in a show. And there is no absolute one way. I've judged photo contests before. I've been involved in photo contests for the National Press Association, the New Jersey Press Association, and every time I say, you just change out the judges and you get all different answers. Everything is subjective, and the fact you didn't get in doesn't mean you're not good. It means that that person likes that because they come with that kind of a background and that kind of experience. And when you win, that doesn't mean you're the greatest either. It just means that you're also in because somebody liked it. It hit their sensibility. Maybe the judge is from New Jersey. And that's the kind of thing where I think a lot of people will sometimes get down if they don't place in contests. Don't. It's like the Hollywood actor or actress who doesn't get chosen for a role, and they're like, I thought I did a really good job in my reading and then in my audition. And it's like, it has nothing to do with you. Maybe they're hiring another actor who's a blonde, and they don't want 2 blondes because people will confuse which one's the main actor. Maybe they want somebody who's shorter because they're figuring out how they're going to film it, and they don't want somebody as tall as you to work in that scene. It has nothing to do with your ability. You had no chance the minute you walked in. Well, the same thing with photography. Some photographs are going to rise to the top because of who's looking at them, and sometimes it has nothing to do with, is the photo good? The photos that I pick would tend to be more people-oriented than somebody who's more interested in landscapes and wildlife. And we all bring a sensibility to it as both photographers or judges or critics or whatever. So it's fun to be in the show. It's coming up the Memorial Day weekend in Louisville, Colorado. If you're nearby, go visit it. It's at the Louisville Art Association. And I think it's just a one-weekend show, but it's kind of thing where it's a fun little show to be a part of, and it's local. I can go to it easily enough. I don't submit to too many places that are not local because I don't really have an easy way to transport work to them. But this was one that's in my neighborhood, so I thought it would be a good one to submit to. And then the two photos I didn't choose, I think, are equally or better than probably most of the things I'll see at the show because I'm not interested in landscape and wildlife as much, but that's subjective too. All right, that's today's photography talk. If you're enjoying these, hit the subscribe button. If you can support, hit the Patreon. Thanks to all my supporters. I appreciate you. And I will be back next time. We'll talk more photography. As always, here's the good light.